It's gone, y'all. It's gone. It's gone. We ain't gonna see it no more. Diamond in the rough here. Surviving the most coldest polar vortex that has hit the state of Ohio in several years. First 15 degrees below zero last week. This week, it's 40 some degrees. Who the hell knows? Excuse me. Who the hell knows what's going to go on? Anyway, I'm surviving it, rehabbing a knee right here with a small injury, and thought I would finish up my research because I did say I was going to get back with everyone with regard to the update on the Glover's Mange changes. So, what I have is just a little bit of information I was able to find out, and I will say thank you to all the subscribers and all even the viewers who didn't subscribe but did see the video and did have a comment on it, just even to say thank you, because we all remember those old school products that were really worked well for our hair, that sometimes is going by the wayside. But some stuff may come back, some stuff may not. But I'm sad to say, y'all, Glover's is gone bye-bye. It's gone, it's gone. It ain't coming back. So all we could do is report our findings and then move on to the next phase. So with that, I want to thank again my subscribers for taking time to look at the video, give me some tips and directions as to where to look for research. And I was able to find a few things. I do have my notes here on the side, so I may glance at them from time to time just to make sure I stay on task and on point. So basically, as we know, pine tar is a man-made product made by the production of burning wood. Pine tar can be made of either a single wood or more than one wood. Most notably, we know of pine tar what was in sulfur 8, or not, excuse me, not sulfur's 8, but Glover's mange. And that's what the other video was about. Through my research, I was able to find out the culprit and why possibly the offending agreement, that is the ingredient that is the pine tar, was pulled out of the old formulation and blend of Glover's, and basically revolves around, as I mentioned, how pine tar is produced. It's made of one or two woods, usually pine. That's what we know it of as, and its use has been used on farm animals. That's what the other video was about. But with regard to our use in product, Glover's mange, we use it as a hair scalp treatment for the preparation and growing of our hair back in the day. I am over 50. You can tell by my frosting up here, but I'm going to claim my fame and my glory, and I earned every one of these gray hairs. But back when I had all black hair and no hair and little hair, my mother used it on our hair. Used on farms, used for farm animals, from chickens to hoof and clothed animals to pigs to whatever kind of skin affliction, hoof affliction that might happen on a farm. Glover's mange was there to do the trick and do the job. We know it's been over 2,000 years in production by early humankind. We know it has been produced as an item for consumer use and sale for at least 200 years. The offending ingredient, from what I was able to identify through my research, and I looked at US-based articles as well as Australian articles, and the study and research of the product or of the item. And it's basically in the production of, the issue was how the pine tar was created, how it was produced, either in what they call an open flame situation or a closed kiln preparation or production process, if you will. And the offending items were the phenols and the creosote, the smoke, the soot that is created when something is burned. Usually carbon-based things all produce creosote. Creosote is that sticky, blacky, barbecue-y smell and taste we get on our food when we barbecue outside, and it's that smoky taste that we love, not the burnt taste. When it's burnt, it's burnt. Smoky is a whole different flavor profile altogether. So those two things, the phenols and the creosote, were the offending products. US-based studies said there was some carcinogenic risk. Australian research articles said that there was minimal risk, used in concentration of either 1 to 3%. We know that in a human type setting, in human type trials and whatnot, pine tar and its various extrapolations used in ointments, shampoos, salves, lotions. Very small concentration of it was needed, added to a product in order to make it effective. That's why you have that 1 to 3% of the weight of whatever the product is or the batch, if you will, was the highest concentration, 1 to 3%, but used for all kind of skin afflictions from seborrheic dermatitis to eczema to contact dermatitis. There's all kind of things that fine tar was used for and used to an effective degree. Some of the research I looked at showed that there was no correlation, or let me back up, a minimal correlation. I didn't say the degree of. They looked at one study looked at 710 patients, and they said the risk was as minimal as one would have in a 10-year period of possibly having a carcinogenic link or connection. There was so small a risk, so minimal a risk that it wasn't anything out of the ordinary of just living in the United States of America and having all kind of qualities of water and various accesses to clean food versus regular food versus organic food, that the pendulum swung so wide that there was no direct connect correlation between using pine tar and then getting cancer. But I do know in today's age and space and time, people are trying to lower their risk as best as well as they can. Um, we know that the risk is minimal. We know that some places still continue to use it. My Australian study said, no, 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 don't use it. Some of the United States surveys and research and articles said, well, it's a question of the FDA, and the FDA clamped down on if it's in there, we ain't going to use it. So it's a battling pharmaceutical or the battling consumer protection outlets, international versus domestic, as to, and I don't know who is right. I'll be honest. I don't know who is right. I know pine tar works. I know I use my Glover's mange. Now in 30 years, it might be a whole new can of worms in a different study or whatever going on. So I will say I was able to even follow up on the company in terms of how it was put out of production, or how it was phased out of production, I guess I should say. We know the H. Clay Glover Company out of New York first formulated the item. They were started in the late 19th century, 1880s, 1887, lasting as long as 1993, maybe 1985, excuse me, when they were bought out by J. Strickland Company. J. Strickland bought the patents in 1985, I think. They first produced, or rather had their product registered in the Bureau of Patents, and it's from then that they began producing Glover's mange in the various types and stripes and places, types and stripes and means, forms of whatever that you find, J. Strickland products and Glover's mange products, floral versus plain versus citrus, etc. But J. Strickland Company is something very famous and active in our African community also. If we've been to any beauty supply store, if we bought Natanola, Black and White, African Gold, Arta, Blue Magic, 5 Star, Ducharme, Gloss 8, Sulfur 8, Just So, magnificent products. Any of these products, World of Curls, and I remember World of Curls because I almost had a Jerry curl. Was this close, but didn't get there. And I think what scared me was that Jerry curl, I saw people's hair catch on fire, lighting cigarettes in the bar, working on cars, all kind of situations, because I found out that activator was almost all alcohol, which is probably the reason why I didn't get a Jerry curl, because the fireworks were just fabulous. But we know, again, J. Strickland is in that field of ethnic hair care. Any of those products I've just named, you can find at a beauty supply store, even to this day. Hair preparations, permanents, care for permanents, press-in oils, shaving creams, bump control creams, anything that will relax. You see, I said permanent. That's how I tell you how old it is. Permanent relaxers, anything for the care of the hair and skin. J. Strickland does it. They are active now. I was waiting on a call back from the lab with this bad weather we had a couple of weeks ago, and hopefully they'll get back to me. But at any rate, what I found is, in a summary, the pine tar was the culprit. Some questions as to if it was carcinogenic or not. FDA didn't really explain itself. Sometimes they shut down stuff for no reason. I hope I won't get struck by the YouTube police for ratting out the FDA, but we know often those home remedies and things that we used to use are coming back into favor and savor now. Homeopathic, Ayurvedic, adaptogens, things that are in the environment that we know are there that were used are now being incorporated within modern day medicine because we see the pharmaceuticals rushing to catch up with the homeopathic landscape because people want less chemicals in their lives. So, with that, um, I want to offer the bigger pine tar that I do have for someone who wants some of it. We'll have to talk about that off camera because I don't want to get anybody in trouble. I don't want to get myself in trouble. I am not a doctor. I am not a dermatologist. I am not a physician. I'm just Deborah sitting in my raggedy living room like I was before. The only thing, the light is better this time, I do think. But at any rate, I thank you all for listening. Contact me below if you're interested in that pine tar. We can talk on a secret level. So, thank you all for listening. Thank you for watching. Rate, comment, and subscribe below. Ring that bell for notifications. I am going to produce two things have just been on my mind recently with the election of 45. What the scam skillets is going on with these people. Have they lost their minds? And some of my best of some things that I've taken and used that works for me. Thank you again for everyone listening and taking time to see the video again and being patient with me as I rehab my body and my life back to 110%. So thanks a lot, everybody. I'll see y'all later. I gotta go. Bye. I just remembered I was supposed to show you a shot of the Glover's mange, the old versus the new formulation. To the left is the old formulation, inside of which I put the new formulation, the white lighter ring to the picture or the dot on the left. In the center is the new formulation with the pine tar added. To its right is the new formulation with nothing added. So there you see three different layouts of the um, old versus new Glovers with the addition of the new.